Greetings, everyone. It is the Tonic Man once again. I was trying to calculate how many calls we have done in our history and how many presentations to live audiences over the years. You know, for all the new folks who are on the call for the first time or the first few times, there is quite a history to how we got here, since my father had this preparation commercially available in 1943 to an extent that it started to grow, and by 1945 he had to form a company to handle it and the growth and so on. So let's see, I was born in 37, 43, 45, 8 years old, 10 years old. I was growing up watching all this happen, and I had a ringside seat. You can hear the whole story on these wonderful history episodes we did. They're all in our archives on Soundtrack. For those of you who do not know, well, on the email blast that we send out every week, if you scroll down far enough, you'll see an orange icon. That's SoundCloud. You click on it. It brings you to SoundCloud, which has an archive of all our calls, all these calls. And they've all been edited so that we cut out all of the stuff that's not important and get right to the meat, which is the story, the wonderful success story that so many people have offered to make this call to help. Because the reason of the call is not because I don't want to find something else to do instead of this call. I do it for a very particular reason. I hope that my words and my explanations and our guests who come and relate their own true, live, wonderful success stories will help someone else who suffers from the same sort of health issue. Now, when you listen to our little promotional at the beginning of the call and then the disclaimer, well, it says it all. If you listen to what we say, we're talking about improving vitality, improving mood swings, and I mean improving everything. But as the disclaimer says, we cure nothing. And actually, it's easy to say we cure nothing. Imagine if we were on a TV commercial and we were talking like this and we told the audience, 100 million people watching, because they'll all want to watch so that they can get better health themselves, get out of their doldrums. But they're watching, and we are saying, I am saying, and everyone is saying, this cures nothing. As opposed to everybody else out there trying their very best to say it cures. The prescription medications do say it cure. They have laws that say they can do that. The dietary supplement companies talk about it supports, and you are allowed to say that. We're allowed to say that the JC Tonic will support good blood pressure. We could also say it supports great digestion. We could also say it supports mental acuity. We can also, well, look, I can go on, but go and listen to the calls, because we cover neuropathy and we cover high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I mean, anything that's high or anything that's low, we cover. And everybody gets results to one extent or another. If you stay with it, and do it regularly and get to the right amount that you need. We have tons of people who have reported that their doctors have taken them off their medications. This goes on and on and on. The people will get results no matter what, and that begins on the first bottle. Maybe nothing earth-shattering on the first bottle, but something happens that you start to say, I don't know what's going on, I feel different, I feel good. In some cases, there are changes that are remarkable, miraculous, unbelievable on the first bottle. And we have a guest tonight who has one of these unbelievable stories. I mean, let me tell you, often I tell you to sit back, fasten your seatbelt because you're in for a ride. Or you better have one of those seatbelts for jet pilots, that come over the shoulders and strap you in, because this story, I mean, it really, no one should believe it. So here we are on TV telling everybody this story coming up is going to be told by a person, but don't believe it because it's impossible that it can be true. Look, I don't want to give the story away. So I'm going to just bring our guest on. And as a matter of fact, our guest was another guest that was recruited by our pal Betty. She, talking with this lady, just sort of, how does it go? What happened? And the lady starts telling her this story. Well, this story, it's like remarkable. It really is remarkable. And so you have to listen and listen carefully. And when our guest has completed her story, I want to bring on another one of our members who had a similar story 20 years ago. And when you hear that story and compare the both of them and think about the fact that it's been 20 years, it could have been 40 years, it could have been 50 years, it could have been 75 years. Because, if you calculate it from 1943 to today, what is it? I mean, these stories have been going on since my father started to commercialize the preparation, as he called it in those days. And so it's not that it's something different that's happening each year that goes by or each decade. It happens all the time. These stories are just remarkable. So let me bring on this lady. And I'm going to bring Betty on because she is going to introduce her, as she always does when she has a guest. And you are going to hear something that is, to say the least, miraculous. Okay? So hang on and let's see, where are we? Betty, are you there? Where are you, Betty?
Hello there, Anthony. How are you today?
I'm A1, as usual.
Super duper. Okay, actually, my next guest, her name is Arquilla, and she was introduced to the JC Tonic by our dear friend Lily Collins, and she's only been on the product. She's only on her second bottle right now, and when I called her a few days after she started, she was already very excited about what the JC Tonic was doing for her, so I said, let's wait a few weeks and get you on a call. You can earn your free bottle, of course, which everybody does for coming on board with us and doing these calls. So she was anxious to do that. So, yeah, here we go, Arquilla, if you want to just tell your success story and what's going on with you and your tonic, that'd be great.
Almost definitely. I'll tell my story. I actually lost my sight. That's my story. I've never worn glasses in my life. I've been working back and forth on the computer day and night, and one day I couldn't see any longer. And so in the month of December, I had to go to the doctor, and they said I had a stroke behind my eyes, and they wanted to start doing injections within my eyes in order for me to see. They said if I didn't have the injection, I would lose my sight and not regain my sight at all.
In both eyes? In both eyes?
In both eyes. In both eyes.
Wow.
They also sent me that was the renal specialist doctor that talked to me. Then he also sent me to a glaucoma specialist, and she began to give me drops for my eyes, just trying to see how that would help, because they said there's two different things that's going on with my eye. But I am a person of faith, and I believe in healing, and I told the doctor that. And I also told him that I will see. I rejected the injections, and as I was listening to the Willie Truth Call, I heard him mention about the JC Tonic and how great this product was. So I called Mr. Willie.
It was probably the JC part that got you.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you
so
got
I heard about the JC Tonic, and I called Mr. Willie, and he began to tell me about the product, and he also told me about Betty Gowan, so I called Betty right away. She was just so pleasant. I ordered the product, and I've been taking it now for a month and a half. The first couple of weeks when I talked to her, I was so excited because the product had already started lowering my blood pressure. I have blood pressure problems. I have diabetes. And they said I have high cholesterol. And then I had the eye problem. So I was saying, oh, my blood pressure had already dropped within a matter of 2 weeks. And I was like 40 milligrams of my medication, and now I'm 20 milligrams of my medication.
Which medication is that? I mean, is that for the blood or the diabetes?
That's for my blood.
Yeah.
It was 128 over 74. Wow. I said, my blood pressure.
What was it before?
It was like 140-something or 150-something.
Wow.
And so I've been on blood pressure medication for many years. And so seeing my blood pressure at 120-something, this was great. So now my blood pressure has dropped. And I'm still using the tonic, just 1 ounce a day. And I'm seeing the difference with my eyes. I'm saying I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see. Even though things were distorted and some was like double, but I could still see. And I'm like, I can see. I was telling Betty that. I'm starting to see. And I just have to say, just a few days ago, my sugar level dropped. I've been taking diabetes pills, too, for about 5 years. 500 milligrams in the morning, 500 at night. I took my 500 at night the other night, and I woke up and I was just trembling. And I was telling my husband, I said, my sugar is too low. My sugar is too low. Get me some juice, whatever. The next day, I just drank my tonic, and I did not take my sugar diabetes pill at night, and I woke up and I'm fine. So now it's dropping my diabetes.
So what are the numbers? Like,
well, it was...
Well, what were they? What was your diabetes sugar level, and what is it now?
I don't really quite remember the numbers, but I just know the pill milligrams are 1,000 a day, and now I'm down to 500.
So you measure your sugar level every day, I guess.
No, because my doctor said I really didn't have to measure it every day. But I know I had to do it with my mom that was on insulin, but I don't have to do it with the pills.
No, I was just wondering if maybe the vision problem was something to do with the diabetes, because they say that diabetics start having vision problems. And did any doctor ever say that could be the reason?
So that's what the renal specialist said. It has nothing to do with my diabetes. Because I asked, I said, does this have to do with my diabetes? He said, no, you had a stroke behind your eye.
Because having a stroke in both eyes is, well, I don't know, maybe it's not strange. I just thought maybe it's strange. But look, you said the cataract, or what other specialist you went to?
I went to the renal specialist and the glaucoma
specialist. Glaucoma. So he said it was a stroke, right?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
And so they're treating it. But I just have to say, on the weekend, my husband was watching a movie. I haven't been on the televisions or computers or anyone that even leaves me a text message on my phone. I always say, leave me a recorded message, because I really can't read right now. But my husband was looking at a movie on the other day, on the weekend, and I went in the living room and I sat with him, and I could actually see the movie. Wow. I felt like crying because I said, I just see this movie, and I could see the total movie, but I went back in the room because I didn't want to stress my eyes out. But I said, I can see. He said, okay, just calm down. And so I'm still just taking the medication in my eyes. I'm still taking my JC Tonic every day, and I'm being obedient by the doctor, stay off the computer, not try to read. But I can take a magnifying glass, and I can actually see words.
Wow.
So I just want to say, I know for a fact that this JC Tonic works.
What if you had some medication you're taking from the eye doctor? What is that?
It's I have to have drops in the eye 3 times a day.
And that is supposed to get rid of the stroke?
It's supposed to lessen your pressure. So now I've been going to the doctor since December of last year. In February 22nd, they told me my pressure is going down, and I don't have to see the doctor now, but for every 3 months.
Wow.
I know without a doubt that this JC Tonic has helped.
Yeah, and I would suggest getting on about 3 ounces a day. What do you think, Anthony? 3 ounces?
Well, you're still doing an ounce now, Arquilla?
I'm just doing it now every day. Every day. And I even asked Betty, I said, Betty, can I put this in my eyes? And she says, yes, people have tried it in their eyes, but it will burn. I put it in my eyes, and it did burn. But I have to say, I think I saw better that day. I really do.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I do it all the time. It only stings for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, but, yeah, it burned, but I'm like, I put it in my eye. I dropped it in my eye.
Well, that's because the pH is alkaline and your body's acidic. That's the reason it burns, and that's why it only lasts for a few seconds. So it's not damaging. It's fine, But, I mean, I do it on a regular basis, and I know a lot of people who use it in their eyes. So it really, all of a sudden, you seem to see clearer with it after. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I wondered sometime if it's my imagination, but it's true. You all of a sudden, yeah.
Yes, it's true. It is definitely true. It's definitely true. So I'm like, it works. It truly works. And I wanted to see that it worked for me before I told other people. I have a brother that actually lost eyesight in one of his eyes because he did the injections. He's 6 years older than I am. I'm 62 years old. Well, I'll be 62 on March 27th. He lost his eyesight.
See, I knew a lady not long ago who's been getting those injections for years, and she would be blind without them. So, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly.
I guess it's like the JC Tonic. Betty was saying, should you take 3 ounces? If it's working on 1 ounce, you're fine. But, I would try and go to 2 ounces a day and see what happens, because it just may accelerate everything. It may not, and then if not, go back to 1 ounce. But most people find if you increase the dose, things even get better and faster. So you might want to try that and see.
Well, I will definitely try, too. I'm always just curious about the other things that's going on in my body.
Well, all those things are being addressed at the same time because, as Betty has told you, this is a whole body approach, and it's mostly through the cleaning up of the blood and the blood chemistry. And when that better blood starts going through your body, it starts to rebalance all the systems. So the systems that are not in balance, that are causing high blood pressure and that cause high sugar levels and that cause arthritis and that cause, it's because parts of the body are not functioning at peak performance, or maybe not functioning very much at all. Once they start functioning again, getting into balance, it's like tuning up your car. All of a sudden, when you get out of the garage and they just did a tune-up, you feel like you're in a new car, for Pete's sake.
Yes. Well, I'm going to continue, and if I can start with a double dose, I'll start that tomorrow.
So how old are you?
I'm 61. I'll be 62 March 27th.
Yeah, so look, at that age, your body still has plenty of oomph in it to regenerate,
Yes.
You're going to soon be sitting even closer to your husband watching TV.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you so very much for this product. Thank you. It's been a miracle to me.
That is great. Well, and that's a miraculous story. Wow. I can see.
Yes, I can. I'm sitting in my room right now, and I'm actually looking at boxes. I'm looking at everything around me. I could see clearly thing around me. It's just the reading and things like that, but I could see.
Well, going through what you went through and having those other health issues, you're going to have a great time helping other people out of their doldrums, because if you look around, all your friends in their 60s, they're all suffering from the same things. 95% of America is on those kind of medications, and no one's happy, nothing's working, and really, there's really a lot of people to talk to. So we're cheering for you, and we'll be right there helping you. If you want to spread the word, we'll help out,
Okay, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, thank you for being here. Betty, a great success story.
Yeah, and, we've had a lot of stories about people with eye problems, and they're quite miraculous, and yours is right up there. So, just keep on, and, it's good now that your doctor doesn't need to see you as often. That's good news, right?
Yes.
We've had that reported many times.
Yes.
Well, let us have an update in a couple of 3 months and see how things are. And also keep track of everything and take some before pictures, because when you take the after pictures in 3 months and 6 months, you'll not believe the difference in the lines in your face and the brightness and the skin color and the,
oh my
I mean,
God.
everything changes. It's
Okay.
amazing, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
and I will do, I'll do just that. I'll contact Betty. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot to
God
you.
bless
care.
you both.
Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Betty, this is amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
Good, eh? Yeah. You know, I was calling everybody this week to tell them about the special, the 3 bottles for $150 and the 6 bottles for $270. And the gentleman I called on Friday, he told me, talking about eyes, he said before he started the JC Tonic, he wasn't able to drive, and he says, guess what, Betty? I'm driving again. So I was pretty amazed again.
Wow. Are you sure you weren't talking to an old friend of ours who had just about the same experience 20 years ago?
No, this is somebody brand new, actually.
Brand new?
Yeah, and it's funny because 20 minutes before the call tonight, I got a call from a really dear friend of mine. She's actually been on our call a couple of times, and she ordered some product, but she also had some amazing results with her eyes. So she called, and she was actually going to get on the call tonight. So, yeah, interesting, all these eye stories coming over.
Well, I hope she's on the call. Is our old pal Lenny on the call?
I am on the call. I've been listening.
Hi, Lenny.
Betty has a question for you, Lenny.
Well, just maybe you can repeat for our listening audience tonight your story about your eyes and what happened to you when you started taking the tonic.
Well, yeah, eyes were just one of the problems I had. But I'll never forget, because it's really sad when you lose your eyesight, especially when you're just, you've been driving and you're able to work. And I'll never forget when I was working at the car dealership, and for some reason I started wrecking the cars. I would hit things and stuff. And my nickname was Crash Atencio, and it was really difficult because, you're trying to make money selling cars, but I had to pay the deductible of $500. So I was making enough money to pay off the, when I scratched the car or dent in or whatever. I realized I had to quit because it was just really hard. I had really lost my eyesight, and it was a gradual thing because I was 28 years old when they diagnosed me with cataracts, and they told me I was one of the youngest patients ever back then, because they said, wow, you're just too young to get a cataract surgery. But that's what I had to do. But gradually my eyesight just started deteriorating, and I was 37, pretty close to there or a little over, when I had to file for disability. And as a male, man, that's degrading. I was just devastated. I just couldn't believe at a young age I had to file for disability because I couldn't see anymore. And of course, when you're in, trying to file for disability, they want to have proof. So I'll never forget when I went to see their doctor.
What did you do? Borrow one of their cars and crash it?
Yeah. No, my wife had to drive me there, and they were like, "How can you see?" And I'm like, "I can't." So they right away realized that my eyesight was pretty much gone. So they gave me the okay. They put me as on disability and blind or whatever. So that really was devastating in my life. I was just like, wow, that was tough. It caused depression and everything else. But I had several other things going on. But I'll never forget when we got introduced to JC Tonic. Of course, like everybody on the line, if you weren't skeptical, then you're not human. Because, that's our nature. So, I was like, oh, yeah, right. But I was curious because I had tried everything and I wasn't expecting anything. So I just wanted to feel better.
Were you told it would be good for repairing eyesight, Lenny?
No, I was just told that, what if it works?
Yeah.
I had several issues. So I wasn't even thinking about the eyesight. I just wanted to feel better. I was depressed. I didn't feel good. I was sick. So we went, me and the wife, so I took several samples. At that time, I didn't realize that take an ounce or fill the ounce. I was like downing them. Hey, they're free. So I was drinking them down. To make a long story short, on the way home, unaware, because I was the passenger, of course. My wife had to drive. And all of a sudden, I was just reading, the big letters, nothing small. But my wife scared me to death because she slammed on the brakes. And I'm like, oh, my God, we're going to get in a wreck. I dropped everything. I'm like, what's going on? She says, you're reading. I go, huh? I said, what do you mean? She goes, you're reading. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, yeah. So that told me that I need to drink JC Tonic. Okay. It's like, wow, that's pretty amazing to me. So that was the trigger that I needed JC Tonic. So I did whatever it took to get on JC Tonic. Because when you're broke, you're on, I had just filed for disability. We had no money coming in. I'm like, we can't even afford this stuff. But we did. We did whatever it took. And I figured out how to drink for free. I won't go into that. But I knew that if I could share this tonic with other people, that eventually my tonic will be free. And that's what happened. So, Anthony, the story tonight just triggered in me what I went through. And it's horrible not to have eyesight. But by the way, I am driving again. It's been like 5 years.
Isn't that a good news? Boy, oh boy.
Oh, it's really weird because I did not drive for 18 years at all. And I started driving about 5 years ago, and I am grateful. Very grateful.
You started driving, Lenny, and you came to your first red light. You went right through it. You didn't know what it was.
So that's just one of the things the tonic helped me with. That's why I've been drinking it for over 20 years.
Lenny,
I can't stop.
Did you go back to selling cars, or did you just do the JC Tonic business full time?
No, what's interesting is I never thought I would try to sell.
Have any accidents at the dealership?
No, and I got JC Tonic before I actually could drive. I mean, I'm talking years later.
Oh, okay.
But when I got on JC Tonic, I was just worried that how am I going to pay for this? So I started sharing it with people just because I felt better, and other people recognized me. They're like, what are you on? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I on? I thought they were making fun of me, and I'm like, they're like, you look so much better, and you got to be taking something. So I just started sharing the JC Tonic, and of course, they had to get it out of me. I just said, I found some stuff. They're like, well, what is it called? And I said, it's this herbal product. And they're like, what's the name of it? I'll never forget. They used to drag it out of me. And that's just because I didn't want to sell anything. I wanted to share JC Tonic with other people, but I was just really cautious. And guess what? Man, I've been drinking for free since April of 1999.
And how many people?
Pretty much in that first month, I started drinking for free.
And how many people started drinking it because of you?
Oh, man. Just people were coming on board. I must have talked to at least 1,000 people myself, me and my wife. We couldn't stop talking about it. I mean, people were like, that's all you talk about. And it's like, how could you not when you were almost dead, I almost died. So when I started feeling better and things were changing, how can you not talk about it? So I've been doing it for over 20 years now, still talking about JC Tonic. And one of the tips I wanted to bring out tonight, all who are listening, is be patient with people. Be patient because you're going to hear no several times before maybe they'll try it, okay? So just be patient. I mean, I was one that was skeptical. I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to spend my money on it, but here I am.
Well, Lenny, that is a great, great story to add to the Arquilla one. Boy, oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come on.
Yeah, I appreciate you very much. Thank you. And Betty, it just worked out so great, this call. Somebody brand new experiencing the same thing. I can see, as Lenny did over 20 years ago. So really, really great call. Betty, thanks again for finding Arquilla and getting her organized to come to the call. This is a real humdinger. Lenny, thanks a lot for jumping in. And everybody, of course, this will be emailed out next week. And do come back the following week. Oh, the following week we may not have a call. I don't know. If it's Easter weekend, a lot of people are celebrating, so maybe we won't have a call. We will let you know in our email what we can do.
Yeah.
And on that,
everybody to keep ordering those specials before the company runs out of product, because it's going pretty good.
Oh, that's true.
I go through a lot of
Betty, tell the folks what that is.
Oh, 3 bottles for $150 of the JC Tonic, or 6 bottles for $270, and that does include your shipping.
Those are incredible prices, folks.
Yep.
And we did that once again. We had literally hundreds of phone calls of people asking if we could do it again, because they really have been boosting their dosage because of this virus. I like to think that maybe we've saved a lot of people going through that ordeal. Maybe not. We're not saying that this is a cure for the virus, but it sure is a strong immune system booster. And that is what the scientists said a year ago when this virus started. They said if you can have a strong immune system and boost your immune system, you have a better chance. And of course, all the folks that were really hit the hardest had so many other health issues that their immune systems were so low that I think that boosting the tonic will improve and increase your immune system. And that, folks, in the scheme of life, is the most important system of all. Of course, the body won't function if the other systems are not functioning. But if you have a strong immune system, you have a much better chance of not catching anything that might do you in or do you some harm. So take advantage of this. Boost your dose. Double up. If you're drinking 2 ounces, drink 3, drink 4. If you're drinking 1 ounce, drink 2. Give it to your children. Give it to your oldsters in the family.
Give it to your pets.
Give it to your pets. I don't know if they're going to get the virus or not, but just in case,
do you know what?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, tonight on our news here in Toronto, they were talking about dogs and cats getting the virus, and they said it is possible, more in cats than dogs, but there is a slight chance. But, I mean, we should be giving it to the animals anyway.
Well, I started, we at home here we have a bunch of feral cats outside that we feed every day, and we started putting a few drops in the cat food, so they're protected.
Good.
Okay, everyone, so thank you.
Hey, well, before you leave, Anthony, I just wanted to say one more thing.
Sure.
Because, a lot of people have been saying, did you get your shots? I said, you know what, I'm going to come up with a new T-shirt. I took my shot every day, JC Tonic.
Yeah, me too. That's the shot I'm taking.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I took both of my shots right away.
Oh,
Thank you,
man.
Lenny. We got to remember that. That's a good one.
Yeah, we better come up with some T-shirts. I took my shot. Drink JC Tonic.
That is really good. Lenny, you know what?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, get some of those people who get the T-shirts out overnight and have those made instead of the ones you see on the streets.
I know. Oh, all right. Well, thank you. I got to shut up. I'm all hyped up.
We'll see you all next week, folks. Have a great rest of the evening. Thanks very much for being on the call. And any of you that want to jump in and share the call, as Betty and Lenny have done, just let it be known. Bring a story, bring a friend, bring some news, whatever is good for you and good for folks. We all want to hear it. So come on down, as they say. And on that note, don't forget, everybody, take an ounce and feel the bounce.
And feel the bounce.
See you next week.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night for now.
Urac Classic Whole Body Tonic is a dietary supplement, not a drug. Therefore, it is useful to affect the structure and or function of your body in various ways, but it is not intended to and will not cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent any disease. Individual testimonials may not be rep everyone's experience and do not constitute scientific evidence. URAC Corporation does not make any drug or treatment claims for its product.